Hello, my name is Jen and I'm going to be leading you through today's Bits and Bytes lesson from Youth Code Jam. We are continuing our Code Adventure series in Snap, and today we're going to be working with some different kinds of data. In the past, a lot of our programs have been picture-based, like drawing circles or drawing shapes. Today we're going to work with some numbers and text data. Snap is used for data visualization, so sometimes our data isn't fun. Sometimes it's going to be text or number based. So we're going to work with creating a shopping list with items and their costs. So the first thing we want to do is in a browser, open a new tab or open your browser to a blank tab and go to snap.berkeley.edu. And then click the Run Snap button. If you have an account and you want to save this project to your account, you're welcome to sign in before coming to this step, but it's not necessary. You absolutely don't have to have an account. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, as we do with most of our programs, is change our background. So we're just going to make it a simple light yellow color like what you might see on an old receipt. So you want to come over here to under the stage. So this is our stage, this big white box. And we have a Sprite thumbnail and a stage thumbnail. Go ahead and click the stage thumbnail. And then over in this workspace area, we have the scripts tag. Scripts tab is active. Switch over to backgrounds and then click this paintbrush button. Right now the paintbrush icon is highlighted. For free drawing, we're going to switch to the paint bucket. And then, like I said, we're going to do kind of a pale yellow. So I'm going to click in the yellow and kind of try and get towards the white as much as possible. And that's the color. Oops. So you can play around with this till you get a light enough yellow that you like. I'm okay with that one. So once I'm okay with the color, I'm just going to come over to the editing space and click once. And it'll change my background to yellow, and then we'll press OK. Like I said, we're not going to use any pictures for our sprites. We're just going to leave it as the turtle sprite that defaults in there because we're going to be doing some writing technically today instead of drawing. So go ahead, and we have the stage thumbnail highlighted. Click back to the sprites thumbnail. And then you'll see the turtle icon here. That means the sprite is active under costumes. Switch over to scripts so that we can go ahead and start our code. The first thing we're going to do is have some code run when we click the green flag. So go to the control drawer, which is over here in the upper left top corner, and click get this when green flag clicked block and drag it into our workspace. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a variable. So go to the variables drawer and click the make a variable button. And we're going to call this, we're actually going to make a list. So a list holds more than one value. Normally we would use a variable to hold a single value, like if we wanted to hold, let me think. If we wanted to hold a max number, we would have a variable named max num, and then that would hold a single number. Well, a list will hold many numbers or many words or many objects. So we're going to create a list, and we're going to name this item underscore list. And you can leave it set for all sprites. And go ahead and click OK. If you don't want this highlighted up in your corner because it is going to make the screen clunky, come over to where we just had that item list block populate and uncheck the block so that it won't show in the corner here. And the next thing we're going to do is set the values in our list. So you're going to come over here in our variables drawer and get this set blink to 0 block and attach it to our code. Use the drop down to just change it to item list. And then right now this says item list set to 0. Like I said, we're going to include the names of items we want to buy. So you're going to come down here to this block. It's kind of a dark orange one. It says list blank and has arrows next to it. We're going to grab that and insert it over the 0. And the first item we're going to add is bread. And once you type in bread, click the right arrow once and it'll add another blank. And the second blank, we're going to type milk. And then one more time, we're going to add a third blank and type eggs. So now our list holds bread, milk, and eggs. And those are 3 separate items, not one item. Okay. We're going to do this 2 more times. We're going to create a prices list and a quantity list. And what's important when we do these lists is that the prices are in the same spot as the item that they respond to, as are the quantity. So I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. But again, I'm going to click on make a variable and type prices in, get another set block, set it to prices, get another list block. So when I type this, I want the price of bread to be in the first blank. So the price of bread is going to be $2, and I'm going to add a second blank. And now I want to type in the price of milk, which is going to be $1.75. And finally, I'm going to add a third blank and type in the price of eggs, which is $3.50. Those are some expensive eggs. So there's not going to be a way for you to really check this with your code, because it's not going to tell you if you had set bread to be $1.75, your code is not going to say that's wrong. It found a value that matches that. You'll see this later in our code. It will find a value that matches that, and it will just print out what's there. So it will be human validation checking that printout later going, oh, those prices got mixed up. So it's really important that if you have corresponding values, you put them in the same order in your list. So bread corresponds to $2, milk to $1.75, eggs to $3.50. And we'll see this one more time with our next list. So click on make a variable again, and we're going to make a quantity list. So again, you can see I have prices and quantities showing here. I don't want them to show on my stage, so I'm going to uncheck those boxes and then get this set block. Set it to be the quantity list. Grab that list block one more time and insert it over the 0. In that first block, we're going to get 5 loaves of bread. And then I'm going to click that right arrow to add a second blank. And we're going to get 7 something of milk, cartons, gallons, not sure, but 7 something of milk. And then last, one more time, click that right arrow to get a third blank, and we're going to get 8, either 8 eggs or 8 cartons of eggs. Given the price, I'm going to guess 8 cartons of eggs. So there's some information we don't know, right? We don't know how much milk we're buying at 7 things of milk, and we don't know if we're getting single eggs for $3.50 or cartons of eggs for $3.50, and if those cartons are 6 eggs or 12 eggs, or I think they do go up to 18 or 24 eggs in a carton. So there's some information we don't have. It doesn't really matter for this program, but it might matter later. If you were trying to make this a real program, that's kind of information that you would want. So the next thing we're going to do is go over to that pen drawer and get a clear block, so that if there's anything on our screen when we start the program, it will clear it off. And then we're going to add a wait 2 seconds block so that we can see it clear, and then we can see an empty screen before anything else is written. Otherwise, the new text is going to appear so fast, we're not going to know that it actually cleared. So go to the control drawer and get this wait 1 second block, attach it to clear, and change that 1 to a 2. Right. So now we're going to go to the motion drawer. We're using a pen, which means we're actually treating it, we're using the pen tool, and we're actually treating it as a pen pretty much, which means we have to tell it where to start writing and what to start writing and such. So the first thing we want to do is go to the motion drawer and go ahead and get 3 of these go to X0, Y0 blocks. Oops. Put them all under, sorry, I just messed up the code. Put them all under the wait block. So we have 1, 2, and 3. That first go to block, we're going to change the 0 after the X to -100. and then the 0 after the y to a positive 100. And the second go-to block, that x value is going to be negative 100 again. And this time the y value is going to be 75. And for this last block, we're going to have negative 100 for x and 50 for y. So what's happening here is that our pen is going to start at negative 100x, wherever that is, and 100y. So if this is 0, 0, 100, a negative 100 is going to be up a little. Or wait, a negative 100 is going to be towards the left, and a 100 is going to be down here. So it's going to write kind of maybe here, I'm not really sure. But you can see each time we're starting at the same x value, but moving down in the program. Or actually up in the program, sorry, it goes up. So 100 starts up here, and then we go down. Sorry guys, how the coordinates work in the different programs can be confusing. Alright, so now we have those values set, so our pen has the right place to go. Go to the pen drawer and get the Write Hello size 12 block, and place that between the first and the second go-to blocks, and then grab a second Write Hello size 12 block and place it between the second and third blocks. So you should have a go-to, write, go-to, write, go-to. In the first one, we're going to have it print out a label, so that we're going to add some formatting to our printout so that it's clean and looks nice and is easy for the viewer to follow along with. Whenever you write a program that has output, you want to make sure that it's clear to the user, which means making it basically make it user friendly so that they understand what they're looking at. So that first hello, we're going to add some asterisks before we type a word. An asterisk is the little star shape on top of the 8 key on your keyboard. If you're on a keyboard, hold down the shift key and then tap the 8 button 10 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 asterisks there. If you're on a tablet, you just have to switch to that symbols key on your keyboard and tap that 8 times. After the 10th asterisk, we're going to type the word report in all capital letters. And then we're going to add another set of 10 asterisks to the right of that word. You can either do that individually like we did for this one, or you can take your cursor and copy and paste this section. So you can see my program just started and we've printed report and hello, and that was before I added that one. So now report is centered between 10 asterisks on either side. We're going to leave the size at 12. And the second right block, we're going to change hello to be the categories of our list. So we have an item, prices, and quantity. We're going to change that to be those. So you're going to type in item and then do 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then type quantity. 1, 2, 3, 4 more spaces, and then finally price. And we are leaving that at size 12 as well. So now if you guys just want to see, we're going to run this program. It cleared our space, and now report is here. So it cleared everything, erased it, paused first. You could probably leave that at 1 second if you wanted. I just wanted to leave it at 2 so you could really see it clear. But we cleared that off, and then it rewrote report and then item, and you can see everything's lined up and looking nice and clean. So the next thing we want to do is we have to print out what's in our list. So normally when we print out something, we might just go write and then give it the variable name. For a list, we have to iterate or go through the list in a loop several times to print it out. So we're going to use a for loop for this, and that's in the control drawer. And you're going to get this one right here that says for I equals 1 to 10. And we're going to attach that to our last go-to block. So if you remember, I is the counter variable, and it keeps track of how many items it will go to the end. So right now we have it going to 10, but we're going to have it go to the end of our list. So to do that, we're going to go back to the variables drawer, and I want you to find the length of block. So it's going to be these dark orange ones, and it's actually going to look kind of funny. It looks like there's a stack at the end of it, but don't worry about that. Just go ahead and grab that length of block and place it over the 10. And then you're going to grab your item list block and insert it over that stack area. So you can see it gets highlighted there. And I just dropped that in. So as we iterate through this, we're going to want to put, sorry, I was looking through the activity sheet. So there's a lot more information about this loop on the activity sheet that you guys should definitely check out just to understand a little bit more what's going on. So the next thing we're going to do is write our items. So because our item list is the same length as our prices and quantity, we only need to, it's okay that we use this as our one measure. So everything has 3 in it, so it's going to iterate till it gets through all of them. But now we need to print out the items, and the first 2 are pretty simple. You're going to go back to that pin drawer and get 2 more write blocks. So where is it? Write. We're going to get 2 more of those. And then go back to that variables drawer. And this time we want to get a item blank of blank list. So item of, so it's going to say item 1 of, and then that stack symbol. So we're going to insert that over the hello in both of our write blocks. So if we left this as 1, it would grab the very first value of our list item, so bread and 2, and it would only print those 3 times. We don't want that. We want to go through each of the numbers. So remember, the I is counting up through our loops. So we're actually going to transfer this I value into here. So the first time I goes through, it'll be 1, but the second time we iterate through this loop, I will be 2, and it will pull the second value. So go ahead, you can watch it kind of mess up over here. Expecting list but getting text. So it hit an error, it's not working. So to get that I, just hover over the I of the 4 and click and drag it over the 1. And do that for both of those item of lists. And now we're going to tell it which list to look at. So go back to the top of our drawer here and get item list for the first one, because we want to print out the name of the item. And then we want to print out the price. So if you guys want to see how that works real quick, go ahead and click that green flag. Okay, so you can see it printed out. You can also see it's all run together and pretty messy. That's because there's some more formatting we have to do, but you can at least see that we did iterate. So we have bread at 2, milk at 175, and eggs is at 350, but it's covered by our turtle. So we still have some more work to do. For example, we don't have, actually prices should be quantity, my bad. So on this second block, change prices to the quantity block, and we can rerun that. But still you can see we need some formatting, and we're missing prices. So before we get back to formatting, go ahead and get the a third write block from the pin drawer so that we can add in our prices. So we want to format prices with the $sign so that we know that what type of money we're using. So to do that, go to the operators drawer, and we're going to get the join block here. So it says join hello world, and place that join over the hello. Change the hello to the $sign. So just click N and change. And then just like we did up here, we're going to go back to the variables drawer and get an item 1 of blank block and put it over world. Change 1 to I. And then we're going to have it look at prices. So we know it's not going to look pretty, but we are going to go ahead and run this so that you can see that it is going to print out everything and together. So we have bread 5 at 2. We have 5 bread and then 5 at 2. So you can see it's printing through everything, but it's printing it all on one line, and it doesn't look very nice. So we're going to add some formatting in the next step by resetting our X value for the pen. So go ahead and go back to the motion drawer, and I want you to get a set X block, and we're going to put one after each of our write blocks. So So your code should start looking closer to this. That first set x is going to be at -25. This second we're going to put at 30. And the last we're going to put at -100. So there's really nothing special about these x and y values we're using, except that that's what, during the programming while we were testing it and figuring it out, those are the values that gave us the format we wanted. So there's nothing special or something that you have to know about those values or memorize. They're just, after playing around with the code, that's what we got. So let's run the program again to see how that looks now. Okay, so now it's all on top of each other, but it's spaced out and it looks a little nicer. So the last thing we want to do is have the y value change every time we go through the loop. Okay, so the next thing to do is in our motion drawer, get a set y, change y by 10 block and put it after our last set x2 block. And we're going to change y by -25 each time we write. So it's going to force the pen to go down. So now if we write that, okay, so our list is looking pretty good. You could stop here, but we're going to do one more thing to make it look a little nicer. So we still have our sprite here, our turtle showing. Maybe we don't want to see that at the end of the program. So we're going to go to the looks drawer and get the hide block and put it underneath our for loop. So we'll see that pin while we run the program, but it's going to disappear afterwards. And so now we have a pretty nice list. It's formatted pretty well. We're happy with how it looks. So there's some more things you guys can do with this if you want to check out the adventure modes. You could calculate the total price of the items and print it under the itemized list. So to do that, you would actually multiply the price of each item by the quantity. So for like bread, you would get 10. The others I can't do because it's decimal math, but you get that idea. So you would multiply price by quantity and then add all those up to get the total. You can add a new list called item num and update your column headers and for loop to print the data. So if you wanted to add, like most items in a grocery store have a special number to identify it in a system, and that does get printed out on your receipt. So you could have that be printed. You could also have code that prints the current date and time under the title. So there's actually some blocks already made for you in the sensing drawer to play around with that, but that's also something that you would have on a receipt. That's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I hope to see you at the live sessions when you're able to. This week they are at 4 on Monday and Wednesday afternoons. That's Central Time. Next week we're going to push them back to 4:30 Central Time to try and help kids who have school that's getting out late for whatever reason. But other than that, I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you soon.